So here are the patch party shorts. The hems are not quite complete, but you're going to follow this tutorial to produce your own shorts. Here's the back view. Make sure you're cutting on the grain. Use chalk to help you. Cut a straight line. To get the right size for a shorts pattern, you have to just keep building up your patches in roughly the same sort of shape as your shorts pattern, and use your shorts pattern as a reference as you go. So you can see I've had to add this little extra piece where the crotch area goes, but that will fit. Try and clip off all your excess threads as you go. Build up all of your 4 fabric pieces and cut them all at once at the end at the same time. You may wish to change which pieces are your backs and the fronts at the last minute. So I'm about to cut out my front and back shorts. So make sure you lay up your fabric so that it's all square, and so that the right sides of your fabric are together. So some fabrics it's really clear which is the right and wrong side, but others, like this one, they're fairly similar, or they're exactly the same, so you just have to go with either side, it doesn't really matter. So this will be the back of my shorts, 2 different sorts of fabrics, and this will be the front of my shorts, so you can see right sides together, that's the right side. For this red piece, they're identical front and back, so it doesn't really matter, but it does matter for this piece here. Always cut out right sides together because you want to have a left and a right piece. So there's my front pattern piece. You can see I've got a left and a right front piece and a left and a right, or a pair of back pieces. To differentiate between the front and the back pieces, just notice that the crotch is longer in the back than the front piece. And you can also mark your back and front pieces with a B or an F with chalk, so you don't get confused between your back and your front pieces. So next I need to pin my front side seams to my back side seams, right sides together. So that would mean I need to put this front to this back and flip it over. Then I need to put this front to this back, flipping it over. And you can see that the crotch lengths are different. You can see that that's a back and that's a front. So now pin your side seams together and pin your crotch seams together. So pin all the way down, ready to sew, and with your crotch seams, so here and here, obviously because your back crotch is longer than your front, you need to adjust them so the raw edges meet, and then pin. Next thing you're going to sew, back tack, 1 centimetre seam allowance, back tack, sew, back tack, 1 centimetre seam allowance. This bit's like a magic trick. You've got both of your pieces now inside out. Put one in the right way. Okay, now you're going to put one of your pieces inside the other so that your crotch seam meets up, and you're going to have both of your pieces right sides together. So you can see there's like a giant U shape around here, and the 2 crotch seams are on top of each other. Now when you are matching it up, obviously make sure the junction aligns perfectly, but if you could put your 2 seam allowances in opposite directions, so it just means that the bulk is reduced, and pin them in place, and then basically you're going to sew around, so back tack, so all the way around this giant kind of U shape, all the way around 1 centimetre seam allowance, and back tack at the other end. Now either zigzag or overlock around that giant U shape. Just remember, when you're sewing on a sewing machine and you're going around a curve shape, you move the whole fabric with your hands, but on an overlocker you need to just try and put your fabric so it goes in a straight kind of line, and the raw edge of your fabrics just sticks with the corner edge of your overlocking plate. So you don't actually move the whole fabric, you just try and straighten it like this. Now another magic trick, basically when you flip it out, you're going to have an inside out looking pair of shorts. If you have an overlocker, overlock around the entire circumference of the waist. If you don't, no problem, just get the top of your waist and press it down 0.5 centimetres, and then press it down 3 centimetres again. So we'll end up like that. Otherwise, overlock around the circumference and then press it down 3 centimetres like so. So here you can see I'm ironing down my waistband. My elastic is 2.5 centimetres wide, and the space I need to make the top of my waistband, which the elastic will be inserted into, needs to be, probably make it 3.5 centimetres, the fold line. So I'll be stitching at the top of that overlocking line there. So I've sewn around the circumference of the waist 3.5 centimetres from the top, and that allows for the elastic to have enough space to fit in for a 2.5 centimetre wide elastic. And I made sure that when I sewed around, I left a gap. So I back tack, sewed all the way around, and then back tack when you get to this side, but leave a gap of about, I don't know, 4 or 5 centimetres here. With my elastic, I've put a safety pin in one end, and now I'm just going to thread it through. Securely sew the two ends of your elastic together and thread it back through the little hole you've made, then close up the hole. If you've made the space a little bit too big accidentally and your elastic feels quite loose inside the space of your waistband, what you can do is ditch stitch and secure your elastic in place. So this here's my side seam, and I can actually ditch, so my elastic's inside here, and I can actually stitch inside that seam so it's really discreet and hidden. It's called ditch stitching. So all you do is make sure that the line of your presser foot is right on that seam, and very slowly go forward, back tack. And you can see it's a really quite a discreet kind. I'll clip those threads, but it's really quite a discreet kind of way of ensuring your elastic is secured in. So now to finish off your hems, work out the length you want for your hems, and you can either overlock and then iron up your hem and stitch it down, or you might like to finish it by adding a trim like this or like this, or you might like to use a binding maker. So these are binding makers, and you basically produce a strip of binding like this, which you cover your seam with, which I'll show you in another clip.